Hey guys, it's Cassie with Shear Productions. This is my beautiful model, Caitlin. We're so excited to be here to go over some braid and bridal techniques today. Let's get into it. So first I prepped her hair with a 1 1/4 inch Bionic and went ahead and sprayed the texturizer spray by Unite. It's a dry texture spray to give her some grit in the back so we can go ahead and have some of that like texture in there. So I'm gonna start on the side. I'm gonna leave some hair out in the front right here, just to give her some pretty face framing. I take like a diagonal section, and smooth it out. And I'm starting with a fishtail, so a Dutch fishtail. So I'm going to take little pieces of hair and go underneath the two sections. And I'm gonna pick up hair with this as well. So I'm just taking little pieces of hair in the section and adding it underneath. Make sure you keep your over direction in the direction that you want the braid to fall. I'm kind of moving the chair and like moving my body around to keep that placement. I don't want to take too much hair from this top section because I want that to add as texture and like some volume up there. So I'm kind of taking underneath that so I can still keep that hair loose so I can pull it out at the very end. Once I get the braid thick enough to where I like how much hair is in the braid, I'll go ahead and stop adding hair and I'll start fluffing the braid out just a little bit. I don't like to wait till I get to the very end, just because if you braid all of this hair, this gets really tight up here. You want to make sure that you have enough hair to fluff out and it doesn't get all frizzy. My favorite part about these styles, like the boho braids, is that they're just so effortless and like lived in, so you can really make it like messy or neat. You can make it as fluffy as you want, so just kind of do whatever your eye likes. I like mine pretty fluffy. And with brides, I like to leave a lot of this face framing down, just so in like photos, it doesn't look like they have a ponytail or nothing's too slick back. And most brides do like their ears covered, so I like to leave a little hair like overlaying the ear just to make it look a little bit more like lived in, more romantic. And I'm gonna make this braid go all the way to the side. So I'm wrapping it around her head, keeping this a little loose to keep that texture and volume right there. And I'm gonna recreate the same thing on the same side and make this go all the way around. Over direction is super important when you're doing a side style. You want to keep your body and like her head placement in the direction that you're wanting to keep the braid. I'm going to start pulling a little bit of hair from the nape just to give her those loose little textured pieces. And I also want to leave these little baby hairs out too, just so we can kind of curl them up and give her a little bit more of that like loose romantic style. You could leave as much hair down, as much hair up as you want, just depends on your style preference and your bride's preference as well, or model's preference, whatever. Before I get too far down, I'm gonna fluff this section up again. And if your client or model has dimension, I love to pull on the blonde pieces a little bit more just to give you that contrast and make those pop a little bit. More dimension. You can see whenever I start pulling this tighter, how this little volume is coming up. So I really like how that's looking. I'm probably going to secure it here in just a second and start on the other side. So I liked where that volume was placed, so I went ahead and secured a pin right where I want that volume to stay. I'm going to put little pins throughout the braid just to keep it in place. So she can dance all night long, it's not going anywhere. I'm just gonna clip this off, I don't want it too elastic yet. Just gonna clip it off just to keep it secure and so I can start on the other side, and then I will combine them together and make one big fishtail. So when I'm leaving hair down in the front, I don't ever want to pull this back too and just leave this one little piece because it's going to separate and it's going to look just too stringy. So I like to connect like at a diagonal to follow the hairline, and I keep all this section down because it keeps it more filled in so you don't see any like her scalp through. Same thing, just picking up, grabbing hair, adding it to my two sections underneath. Taking hair from the middle of the section as well. So I'm taking hair out from this and adding hair into it. You want to still keep your braid tight even though you're going to loosen it. I like to hold my thumb just like right where I'm switching the hair over, just to keep it tight so it doesn't get too loose and like frazzled. Remember to over direct where you want your braid to fall. Just use my fingernails or like the tips of my fingers, kind of pull that hair out. On the outside, I'm not pulling really from the inside because you want to still keep that tightness in there so it lasts all night. Typically also, if I am doing this on a bride, I usually bring some shears in my kit. So if these are a little too long, they don't care if you cut their hair on their wedding day. They want everything to be perfect. So if some of these are too long in the front, you can always just kind of face frame and trim them up. So if you do want to leave long pieces out, just remember you can always kind of cut them if they're okay with it. Okay, so once I get to the back to where they're pretty much connecting back here now, this is still going to go a little higher. I'm going to go ahead and just elastic this off just so it stays secure. Wrap it around 2 or 3 times. She has a ton of hair, so I'm going to do 3 just to keep it tight. And I like this little curl that's hanging down, so I don't think I'm going to add it in there. I want to keep some like little pieces out just to keep it super like lived in and romantic. All right, since I'm making 2 braids into one, I'm gonna put a little hole right there and pull this through. Just kind of tighten that. I like to feed hair through just to make it a little bit more purposeful. Okay, so I kind of picked up and I'm directing the hair where I want the braid to follow, and I just kind of left some of these little pieces down. You can always curl them tighter, but I kind of like how they're really soft looking. And we're gonna continue the braid to the side now. And because I pulled that first braid through the middle of the rubber band, that rubber band's gonna stay hidden for me. I don't wanna see any elastic showing. And you're not adding any more hair in anymore, you're just taking the pieces, little pieces from the outside and tucking them right under. And again, once I get like a little bit down, I'm gonna start fluffing out the braid. Because I used that texture spray during her prep, I'm able to fluff it out and just keep it a little bit still like that grit in there. Her hair is not too silky, so it's not gonna completely unravel whenever I fluff it. I also want to make sure I'm pulling from, you can kind of see where that section starts to separate. So I'm just pulling every little piece underneath, keeping it neat. That way if she wears it this way or flips it around that way, it looks beautiful on either side. Really like how that looks. If you wanted to stop it right here and just re-curl some of these ends, you could even do that, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue a little bit further down. But it would look cute if you stopped it. I'm still directing the braid to where I want it to fall. If I kept it this way, when she pulled it forward, you'd have like a little bubble back here of like loose hair. So make sure you're still following where you want the braid to sit. Okay, we're getting towards the end and she's having a few little like of these smaller layers kind of pop out. So I don't want it to look too messy at the bottom. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and elastic, tie that off. So I wrap it around 2 times and then I grab some of the hair from the back and separate that and just kind of wrap the hair around a couple of times, enough to still bring that back into the rubber band. And tie it again. Tighten it and just kind of pull that hair down, just hide that elastic. Stays super secure all night, it's not going anywhere. I'm gonna start pinning some of these little pieces that I think that are a little too loose. She has a little cowlick back here, so you want to kind of try to like cover that so it looks super full. Pull on the top a little bit just to give her some height and texture. I'm loving how this is looking, so I'm gonna go ahead and start spraying some texture spray. This is the Unite Texturizer. As I go through, if I see like any little holes, I just wanna make sure everything is super connected. Now I'm gonna use the Unite Expanda Dust. This is gonna give her just extra grit and it's like mega texture. So I love to use this whenever I'm pancaking and pulling out braids. I like to use it more after just because it is so like wet and sticky that I don't want it to make the hair like fuzzy as I'm braiding. Just like spray a little bit right in the middle. I like to pat it in because it's white. Now you can really pull on this braid even more. Make it as big as you want it. Perfect. I think I am obsessed with that. We're good. Perfect. Do a little 360 and show you all the angles. And there's my double fishtail fluffy braid. Hope you guys enjoyed it.